Alrighty, so today marks the first day in the restoration of Old Red. This is a 95 OBS that I've had since high school. It's four-wheel drive, small block 350, and it's just, it's been run into the ground, but the truck was always good to me. Very sentimental. It was my uncle's truck who passed away, and you know, I think it's time it finally gets some love. So originally it had a I'm assuming remanufactured motor, and even though the truck has like 300,000 miles on it, I'd always assume that the motor was less. Never sure, couldn't tell you when it was put in. It's a 30-year-old truck now, so there's not a lot of info on it. Needless to say, the motor in this is now knocking, and it's toast. It's survived a lot longer than it ever should, and you know, it's treated me well, so it's time I return the favor. So over here we have another 350 throttle body injection out of a 95 with the transmission and transfer case. Whole kit and caboodle. Just picked this up today, allegedly in good condition and running. Transmission, again, allegedly rebuilt and only had 7,000 miles on it, which I might be able to believe it. That right there kind of says maybe more than 7,000 miles on it. But usually you're not going to see this clean of a transmission come out of a 30-year-old truck. So I have reason to believe that it was rebuilt at one point. But 7,000 miles, I don't know about that. Have no idea if this motor is actually good, but luckily I have, you know, parts out of this motor in this one and other various small block parts laying around. I should be able to cobble something together if this doesn't run right. But I am going to be swapping the entire driveline. No particular reason other than this is probably in better shape than what's in it. That being said, I have to get this truck pulled forward so that way I can use my hoist, get the whole front end blown apart, and get the driveline ready to pull out of it currently. So I have a lot of cleaning up to do to get everything cleared out, get it pulled up enough to where I can actually utilize the hoist for it and get started on the restoration of this here OBS Chevy. Alrighty, so I finally got everything cleared out of the way. Now it's just time to have a struggle trying to push it forward enough to get it lined up with the hoist. So I'm gonna do by hand because it's whatever, you know? Manly stuff. Alrighty, so finally got this pushed into place. I can use the hoist, help me get this project done. But we'll do a little bit of a tour around it. So, good old 5.7, the throttle body injection. TBI. I've tried diagnosing this thing just to see if it was something top end, like a lifter or something of that nature. When the motor let go, the manifold specifically on the passenger side, this side, and this front cylinder was glowing. And I have never heard of or seen cast manifolds glow like this, but I mean, it was literally from here all the way to just about right here, which is absolutely cherry red. And then kind of just lost power, and then there's not, I said a knock. It's not really a knock. It's more so of a miss. It just sounds like one cylinder is completely dead. I know for sure it wasn't like a head gasket issue. I know it wasn't a valve train issue, because I pulled the cover and everything moves and does exactly what it's supposed to do. So my suspicion is that I melted a piston in this. I'm not too sure why it would have melted a piston. It doesn't make all that much sense to me. I mean, it's not like I was running hot timing on it or anything like that. It was all just pretty standard stuff. Had literally just did a tune-up on it. With, new fuel filters, spark plugs, wires, new distributor, you name it. All new sensors everywhere. And yeah. This motor's kind of been on its way out for a while though. It just never really gave out. I'd have a lot of instances where the dipstick would blow out because it was building pressure, stuff like that. Overall, it was in pretty solid condition, but it just kind of got too old and worn out. Like I said, there is well into the 300. I want to say it's 365,000 on this truck. Like I said, I'm pretty sure this motor's been replaced at some point. I don't remember where it was. Maybe I can find it once I pull the motor out of this. But there was a Jasper. I want to say it was a Jasper tag or something like that. One of the older companies that you could get a crate engine from, which is what I'm assuming that this was. But this is, even though it's old trusty, motors don't live forever, and 300,000 miles, it really doesn't owe anybody anything at this point. So overall, just time for a restart on this and get it running. Eventually, we'll get rid of the 350, maybe go LS, something like that. I will say the TBI that I'm swapping it out for, I will be doing a carburetor conversion. I'm just not a big fan of the TBIs, even though, I mean, in theory, you can get a little bit better fuel injection, stuff like that. If I wanted to run a standalone ECU, I still think it would be cool to use the throttle body and kind of do, like a budget fuel injection setup on here, but just having better control and being able to tune, I think would make a world of difference as far as like what you could get out of that. But if you've ever seen the holes in the intake manifold, I mean, we're talking 2 holes, probably about that big, that this entire 350 cubic inch engine has to breathe through. And it's just really, really not enough. So for all intents and purposes, keep it simple, keep it reliable, and should definitely get more power out of it by swapping it to a carburetor. I mean, the intake manifold's just going to breathe way, way better. And we'll get a lot more adjustment out of it, be able to find control everything and just really get it running right. And we'll, ditch a lot of the electronics and whatnot, which we won't need in the long run. I haven't decided yet, but it's either going to get an LS base engine, a 4200 Vortec, or maybe a hot 383 kind of thing. But those are kind of the options that have been rolling around in my mind. I have another vehicle that I plan on using as my work rig. So like, this is mainly just going to be a daily, and I'll use it for simple stuff here and there, but it's not going to be a workhorse. I'm not really looking to put this truck to work. It's, like I said, it doesn't owe me anything. So I just want to get it cleaned up, fix a lot of the issues with it, and get it ready to just have a little bit easier life. Like I said, it's been abused, as all old Chevys have. They're workhorses. They're great. They're virtually indestructible for what it is. But it's time that this thing gets a lot easier life. That, and I mean, to be completely honest, it's it's a 1500. It's not like it's a 2500 or a 1-ton or anything like that. It'll tow a race car, but it's not it. A 2500 or 1-ton would probably be better suited to be doing all that fun jazz. So that being said, I'll have to go through. I'm gonna get my label maker out and start labeling everything, working on the wiring harness that's in here, because the one that is on that engine it's not cut, but it's destroyed. It's in way worse condition. So we're going to label everything, even though I've had my hands in this specific engine bay. Unfortunately, getting older, but I've had experience with this specific truck for more than 10 years of just keeping it running, rewiring it, doing different things. So I know it in and out. It's not like I need anything to be labeled, but it helps a little bit later, getting everything together quicker. That way, if I ever do start to work myself too much where I'm getting a little delirious, then everything's labeled, and it'll make my life a little bit easier when it goes back together. It's always good practice. I will say, as for battery cables, stuff like that, those are going to be ditched completely. These are going to be upgraded for a lot bigger gauge wire, minimum zeros, and that should help out with a lot of things. Typically that's they call it a big 3 upgrade. It's something that you do in the car audio world. You upgrade the power wire coming off the alternator, the power wire coming off the battery, and the power wire going down to the starter. Bigger wire, less resistance, means more electricity can pass through it quicker, which means that excess power can be used for running some powerful car audio and stuff like that. But it also helps just in the grand scheme of things. So we'll be upgrading all of these cables, wires, whatever you want to call them, to at least 0 gauge, and redoing that portion of things. Some of these wires will get deleted. A lot of these sensors I'm not going to run because, ditching the fuel injection off of it. We will be doing HEI and 4-barrel, calling that a day. But I would like to retain things like oil pressure and coolant temp, stuff like that. So that way I can, at the very little, use some of the factory gauges. I'd like to keep those. So as much of that portion of the electronics that we can retain, the better. That being said, first orders of business, we have to get the hood off. Fenders are going to come off. The grill's going to come off. Bumper has to come off, which, I mean, pretty solid condition bumper for an OBS, if we're being honest here, which both bumpers are. And then we'll blow the rest of the front end apart, get the core support off, and radiator, and all the excess coolers, because while we're in there, we're going to go ahead and upgrade probably the radiator, go to aluminum, electric fans. I will probably end up upgrading oil cooler, transmission cooler kind of thing, and just while we're in there kind of stuff, might as well, right? And then that's kind of future-proofing it, so if I ever do go LS, then it's already done. And it'll be, kind of pull that out, put the LS in it, all the supporting mods will be done, and it'll be as simple as, finishing up wiring and turning the key, and, be good to go. So, kind of food for thought of some of the things that we're going to be doing. First order of business is to just get this swapped out, get it running and driving, because there is nothing worse than all of your project cars being down at the same time. It's never a good thing. There's a acceptable ratio of running vehicles versus not running vehicles, and currently as it sits, none of my projects run. So this is the easiest. This is the one that I want to work on more than anything and get running. It's not the best option. I have other options that, could be up and running quicker and whatnot, but this is what I would like to tackle first. So like I said, blow all of this apart and start getting into it. Sooner we get all this swapped, the better. Not gonna lie, it was a little bit of a struggle to do by yourself, but my main and only concern, to be completely honest, I'm not necessarily partial to this hood. It is in good condition minus these, which is just where the wind has caught it from the hood being up over the years. So a little buckle here, it can be straightened out fine. That probably could be beaten back out. It's the same in both corners, it's not any better there. And then a small crease here. Hood can probably be fixed. I'll see if I can save it, because I won't tell you all the plans, but I do plan on cutting a hole in the hood anyways. But main concern was not shattering that windshield. Put this windshield in when I was in high school. Felt very adultish because almost all of my project cars at least have one crack or nick in the windshield. Just what what signifies them as a project car still. They get new windshields when they're done. It's the last thing on the list. But this one specifically still has my high school parking pass in the window from like 2015. So that being said, I just really didn't want to shatter that windshield. And so we got that done. It's good to go. But there's just so much more room for activities. Part of me is like, I don't even want to tear the front end apart. Just pull the shroud and pull everything out the top, but I know it'll make my life 10 times easier if I do. Because otherwise it'll have to come up, and I don't really have a way of pulling out with the hoist. So which means that I have to push the truck back as I lift the engine. It's kind of a pain, so that'll just be easier if I can blow the front end apart and pull it straight out the front. That being said, it's already starting to look like a project truck. I mean, no hood. I'm gonna be completely honest with you, the no hood life kind of looks pretty good, not gonna lie. But we still got more to do. I'll have to start unbolting everything else, get the fenders off. You know, what's left of the fenders, because, you know, very rusty and absolutely nothing left of that corner. Same thing on the other side, it's not any better. Get the bumper pulled off of it, because I'm pretty sure I might have to do that in order to get these fenders off anyways. But yeah, pull the fenders off, get the front end apart. Unless I can just pull the front end apart without pulling the fenders. Which, I mean, the bumper has to come off regardless. No big deal. Yeah, so I think that's probably next. I should probably go ahead and go get the label maker, because I do have some stuff that will have to come off the front end as I pull it apart anyways. So yeah, next on the list. Well, we've got this front end blown apart pretty good so far. Everything's going smooth. I'm kind of dreading the bumper. I'm not entirely sure. I do have to take it off, actually. I might be able to sneak the core support out without taking it off. I'm not entirely sure on that yet, though. After thinking about it for a little bit, I do remember this getting a new radiator at some point, and it's actually in really, really good condition. It's still basically brand new. I mean, there's a little bit there, maybe a little bit down here, but it's not bad. I mean, I could straighten all those fins out, and it probably wouldn't be bad. I'd probably just end up using this. It is a nice aluminum radiator after all. And then just switching it to E-fans. So, not bad. Can't complain. There's definitely plenty of mud dauber nests and whatnot there. But got the whole front end pulled apart. The AC was not charged. You'll probably see me in the time lapse putting on safety glasses and glove in Ear Pro. That's mainly because I've made a mistake of pulling those apart, even after testing them at the Schrader valves. And you pop that line, and it sounds like a gunshot going off, and sprays everywhere. Whatever. I don't have the proper stuff to evacuate all of it, but I was pretty positive it wasn't charged to begin with, which I was right, luckily. So didn't have to deal with any of that mess. Suppose what's next is go ahead and drain the radiator, get the shroud off of it, finish snaking these wires through. These are kind of a pain. There's a little bit of the air intake here, sucks in from here, goes up to the fender, and then over and out. So I'll have to get that off, probably pull a battery tray to do that, so that way I can get access to wherever these wires are hooked up. I'm assuming they're just grounds. But this is why it's kind of nice to do this kind of stuff, because these wires are toast. So pretty sure they're just grounds. but I'll have to redo them anyways. I would just cut them, but I need to know where they go and be able to trace them. So that way I can label them and redo them later. But yeah, I mean, we're almost there. It's not going too bad, pretty smooth. I think it's just gonna be bolt on each fender, and then there's a bolt here on the sides. Now, of course, we have the radiator stuff to undo, and I'll have to check underneath. I don't know that goes through the core support. I want to say that's just a body mount that goes to the frame. There's that other bolt on this side. And then I think I'll be able to pull the core support out. And yeah, I think there's just gonna be a couple wires here and there. Down here, I think that's another horn, even though I pulled one off the front, and you know, an Auga horn there. So I think I have those. I'll probably have to do the transmission lines over here. Yeah, so we got some transmission lines that come down, hook into the radiator there, and here. And then I think we might be good to go. Yeah, not too bad. I'll probably go ahead and just pull this hose off of the water pump, and then I'll pull the upper off on the radiator itself, and then should be good to go. So yeah, gotta grab a 5-gallon bucket, drain all that into, and then finish getting this popped apart. You know, this is going just about as good as one can expect. Got my little bucket, and luckily down here, you can see, let's spin you around the other way. There is a petcock down there that you can turn. That might be a better angle, maybe. Yeah, right there by that line. And it's probably going about as good as any car guy can hope. You know, gave her a twist. Bucket was kind of in the right position. You know, we have some splashing going on, but I'm catching all of it for the most part. That's not too bad. And as soon as that gets full, then I can close the petcock and throw it in this 5-gallon bucket for now. So, yeah. Getting there. Still not sure. I can't quite tell. I'll have to do some research, or, you know, just trial and error. I don't know if I have to pull that body mount bolt to get the core support off or not. Seems like maybe I might, because otherwise there's not really anything holding it on the bottom. So I mean, if I were building something, I would make that into the core support too. But we got the transmission lines off. Those are currently making a huge mess, but no big deal. And the overflow, which is nice because there's just enough length you can take it off and wrap it around, just hook it into itself so that way it doesn't make too much of a mess. And then as soon as this is done draining, we'll pop off that upper hose and then pop off this lower. And I can either then pull the radiator or pull the entire core support out in one go. Not sure what I'm gonna do yet. We'll see. Kind of just depends if I need to pull the radiator in order to get the core support out or not. I'm pretty sure I don't. From what I remember, it's not really required to pull any of the AC condenser or radiator to get the core support off. Could be wrong. Same thing with the bumper. I don't think I have to pull the bumper off, just looking at it, but I might. And I could be wrong there too. But going pretty smooth, we're trucking along, and put you back in time lapse. So unfortunately my phone dies at the end of this clip, and I didn't get to get the video of me pulling the bumper and the core support off the end. It was basically an hour of me cussing the entire time and fighting rusty bolts on the passenger side there. So I'm just going to insert some pictures of it being completely apart.